Hello and welcome to another EDS Takeover Engineering Chat. This is very exciting that we're getting to speak to people before the actual show on the 10th and 11th of October. And we've already had several people coming on that are speaking and exhibiting. And my guest this morning is doing the same. He's going to be speaking and exhibiting. And to tell you a little bit about him before he chats to us, Steve May-Russelll is going to be talking to me today. And he's the renowned industrial design and innovation consultant, recognized for his expertise in the field. And he's also the CEO of Smallfry, which is a highly regarded company based in Coventry. That's handy for the show. And he's proven himself to be a visionary leader. I mean, you've got some amazing things that I'll talk to you a bit more. But first of all, good morning, Steve May-Russelll.
Morning.
Steve.
Thanks. That all sounds very impressive, doesn't it?
It does sound. I mean, I could go on. I mean, like, you know, you've got an outstanding track record. You've been chairman of the British Industrial Design Association. You've got recognition all over the globe, really, conferences, haven't you? How did this? And you're regarded as an innovation coach and design mentor. I mean, that sounds very fancy.
It does sound very fancy, doesn't it? Yeah, I often wonder how I managed to get into those positions. But
how did you get into this sector to start off with? I always like to ask people a little bit about themselves. But
wow, I originally studied a degree in Leicester, industrial design and engineering, and one of the visiting lecturers was Tim Fry, who was the founder of Smallfry. And then when I joined him, I realised that he was an outstanding engineer, brilliant, designed Hillman Imp in his early 20s. But he actually had no interest in managing people or budgets. So when he got promoted, he got fed up. He left, worked from his bedroom and tried to employ me. And I wanted to run a business. Yeah. So I went off to Warwick, did an introduction to an MBA at the business school, and then went on to win a competition Shell Livewire Business Growth Challenge, which led on to me going to Chicago to study under Philip Kotler marketing techniques. And so put it all in the pot, melt it all together. It's got very strong sort of strategic marketing, business administration and design background. There you go. That's briefly.
And because it does say on your website, which I was looking at, your Smallfry website this morning, that you've got over 50 years experience. I don't believe that. You can't have over 50 years.
Well, yeah, let's pretend we don't then.
Okay. But I mean, that's a lot, right? I mean, I've got over 40 years, 30 years. So, but that's a lot, 50 years, isn't it? I mean,
that's not me personally. That's the business. When Tim Fry founded it was 1971. I was going to
say you don't look like you've got 50 years yourself. That would be like, I'd be questioning that a little bit. But
no, I took over running Smallfry in 1986.
Wow. Okay, so you've been looking after it for a long time, and yes. I mean, what is strategic design? I mean, it's kind of the clues in the name, right? But
yeah, it basically design with a purpose. It's kind of like design is a word which gets used and abused all over the place, and industrial design's got a bit of a clue in the title. We work with industry. And businesses, and we've got a very serious business approach, and we need decent business acumen to demonstrate the value of what it is that we deliver. So, rather than just thinking of design as something a fluffy bolt-on, something that felt tip fairies take care of, we take a much more serious business approach to these things. So we apply, user-centered design thinking to problems, which allows us to deliver solutions that appeal to people, human beings, who are quite difficult to predict.
Yes, I do. I must say, your sort of ethos, your company ethos says about putting people first, and that humans are humans after all. So, I mean, do you want to expand a little bit on that mentality?
Well, yeah, we walk into a lot of organisations where they have years of experience, but there's a tendency to think they already know the answers, and actually, when you're dealing particularly with consumer products or medical devices that people are expected to use at home on their own, you would be surprised at their attitude and behavior. I mean, they do things which you can't predict. And so unless you take the time to properly learn, watch, and observe, because people don't do what they say they do, and they don't set out to lie to you. They just don't realize what they're actually doing. So what they say and what they do is really interesting, because they've got routines and workarounds that they haven't realized they've adopted. And if you see those, you can then understand what it is they're doing and why they're doing it to resolve a problem. And sometimes you can come up with a better answer from that. So, watching human beings, I mean, we know we do things we shouldn't do. We shouldn't drink, we shouldn't smoke, we shouldn't take drugs, although there's some you should do for your medical benefit, and people ignore to take them. And so on. With catalogues of things, people don't do what they should do. They do what they want to do. And sometimes they want to do things they shouldn't do. And it's a question of getting to the bottom of that and understanding what drives them.
And is that something that you found more people are coming to you for advice now? Because I would imagine, over the years, say, I mean, I was in this sector around that time as well. It was very different then, wasn't it? You must have seen a rapid change in people's approach to actually listening to advice about their business and taking a pause before they go and spend money on something.
Yeah, different companies got different attitudes and approaches and understanding of what design is. Some think it's just the thing you apply, a veneer you apply to a product to the end of the process to make it look pretty. Others appreciate that there is a process and they follow that process methodically. And then there are the more forward-thinking companies who adopt design as a strategy in the boardroom and understand the principles about how you can apply the design thinking to find opportunities that other people haven't spotted. So, people talk about, red ocean and blue ocean strategy, or the white space where you can play. And we help some organizations to understand and define where that is. So we look at the competitive space and, we look at the price point feature architecture of the competitive products. And so when it comes to intelligently applied design thinking, that's where you actually start to think about opportunities to create your own space and differentiate yourself from competition. Then it gets all kind of interesting and strategic and well considered. And for people who actually want to do a good job of dominating the market or entering a market or whatever, then there's a process that we can help them with that will help get them into that space. So that's the industry, as you say, years ago used to be noted for what I called the bow tie brigade, the self-appointed style police. Those people who felt they're above other people in terms of their quality and taste aspirations. And I used to turn my stomach listening to some of these people, and the terminology and language they used to use. It just didn't sit well with me. But nowadays, it's a far more serious and strategically appreciated discipline. And you see, management consultancies snapping up some of the bigger design agencies because of this creative process thinking and the impact it can have in a boardroom.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you do work across like a multitude of industries, don't you? I mean,
yes, but it is the same thing. Human-centered design thinking is all about understanding people and putting people first. So we're working alongside people who provide care home facilities for children. And we look at the process and manage the transition of those children into leaving care and then beyond and into the wider world. And we can analyze what that journey is like and what the kind of regulatory processes and procedures are. And we can understand how well the staff in that organization are adopting and understanding those procedures. It isn't just about product and hardware. You can apply exactly the same thinking to service design and development.
That's
so, and what we've got some very clear and compelling tools to make complicated things simple. There's a famous quote, isn't there, about, I'm sorry I didn't have the time to write you a short letter, because actually when you understand a subject, to be able to summarize it succinctly and accurately in a short form takes a lot of comprehension and understanding. And that's a lot of what our visual tools do. I mean, I grew up on Ladybird books, and I know how an aeroplane works and why a hovercraft floats because of the illustrations and the simplicity of it. And I find when you're working in a boardroom, you've got multiple disciplines. And if you're not careful, I mean, Tim used to do this. He's a fantastic genius, but he just couldn't talk plain English. And so many of the people there are glazing over in the boardroom and thinking, you haven't got them with you. They don't understand the advantages of what you're saying, so they're going to say no. And they do. So the easiest thing to do if you don't understand it is to kill it. And that's, we get a lot of that. When you're dealing with innovation, people don't like change, despite what they like to say. And so there's the corporate antibodies' natural reaction is to kill anything they don't understand. And so that's, that's why people like Polaroid, who invented digital cameras, killed it. Didn't see.
I'm a bit like that. If I don't like something, I just want it gone. Just go. Just move on. But no, it's good. It's good that, I mean, what you're providing people is really great at a very important time in our lifespan, I would say, because there's a lot going on out there. I mean, the EDS show, you're exhibiting there as well. Have you exhibited before at EDS?
Oh, many times. Yeah, we're a big fan of EDS. It's a great platform for us. We meet a lot of people, old faces, fresh and new people, and like I said, the fact it's on our doorstep makes it a lot easier than some of the
very difficult commute
European shows you have to drive or fly to. So yeah,
and you're going to do a speaking session on energizing an iconic brand through strategic design. So that's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what I say there. No, it's quite a serious challenge, actually. It's without giving too much away, but basically Hoover had got itself into a position where it wasn't being seen as it ought to, really. I mean, there are a generation of people out there that think that Hoover is a verb or a noun, but they didn't realize it actually is a product.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's an amazing example of how that can happen, actually. Yeah. So you're going to be giving people a lot of advice about that, and then they can come and see you on the stand. They can come and visit you. Do you know when you're speaking? When are you speaking?
Now you got me now.
Don't worry, not everyone's been told. So
I think it's sometime around the lunchtime of the first day.
The lunchtime of the first day, so I can pop along and say hello to you in person.
You can indeed, yeah. By all means,
Yeah, no. And what are you hoping to get out of the show? Because I mean, I love the show. We go along with the engineering chat. This is our third year now, and I always learn something new at every show I go to and every person I speak to. What are you expecting to be the buzz of this year's show?
Well, do you know, I never know. I've got a very open mind, and I'd like to, you can't predict what will happen. At these shows, sometimes you meet somebody and they go, "Oh, I need you now, help me."
Yeah.
Other times, you have a chat with somebody, they disappear, and then 4 years later they get in touch. You think, "Oh, I remember that." You can never tell. I mean, and the other thing is, we don't know what other people have got on show, so we're always there, eyes open. Every day's a school day. There's new things to learn. The world turns. There's new processes, procedures, materials. It's always changing, and so what we do, we thrive on change, and it allows what wasn't possible yesterday suddenly becomes possible tomorrow. And I can't tell you what the others are going to be bringing. So our process methodology is always with our radar scanning for what we can do and cross-fertilize ideas. I'll give you an example of that. We came across the benefits or the characteristics of piezo film, which piezo crystals are the things in cooker lighters. When you squish them, they make a little spark. Well, you wouldn't realize, but actually, if you condense that down into sheet material, you can make it into a microphone, or you can make it into a speaker, or you can use it as a switch. And when we came up with the idea of putting flashing lights in training shoes years ago, we couldn't put a mechanical switch in the sole of a shoe. But we did know about piezo film, so we thought, "Oh, okay, let's use a piece of film in the shoe. Whenever you then flex the sole of the shoe, it would be the trigger to make the lights flash in the heel." Who knew? It's just putting those things together. And then, wow, there's another example. We did a burglar. It was a fire alarm call point. The little break glass things.
Yeah.
Which are hilarious to press at 3 a.m, student accommodation, and get all your mates out of bed. But it means,
cool. Not that anyone would ever do that.
Yeah. So, I mean, what happens is you have to then go and find the right piece of glass to reset that and get the alarm off. So, actually, it occurred to us a bistable spring, or otherwise known as a hair grip. You pop them open and pop them shut.
Yeah.
They clip open. You could use that to pop the glass down, get the pressure thresholds right, and then inside, who knew, we've got resettable fire alarms based on hair grips. it's the sort of stuff we do, you know.
It's great. It's great that you can sort of recycle with all those things, isn't there? Because if you can connect all these things and collaborate all these things, it's brilliant when you can bring them together like that. Even a hair whip with a fire alarm.
Oh, we got some wacky stories. Once upon a time, we did an all plastic polypropylene clothes peg. So it had no metal spring, because this guy that came to us with the challenge said, "I'm fed up of running over my wife's pegs with the lawnmower, and it knackers up the blades." So we did an all plastic peg, but the form factor, the shape of the spring inside the peg was based on the leaf spring of a lorry. So that the thicknesses were calculated based on those ratios, and then we bent it.
I'm going to have to think of some things for you, I think. I'm going to have to think of some things and come and see you and talk to you on your stand about some. I'm going to try and come up with something and challenge you, because I can see you're passionate about what you do.
Yeah, well, we love it, but we do get some really hairy.
I bet you get some wacky requests.
Well, we do, yeah. I don't really want to encourage those.
We're not encouraging those for EDS. We'll leave the wacky requests for me. I can come on and have at least one wacky request, but for everyone else, we want them to come along and see you speaking on the first day of EDS on the 10th at Coventry, and obviously come along and see you on your stand there. And this will be going out beforehand to everybody. So check, people can check you out on your website, can't they? On your Smallfry website.
And also,
find you and LinkedIn.
Yeah, I mean, the website's got some very good sector specific explanations. There's hopefully you learn things from reading that. You'll appreciate the process a bit more from there, and you'll understand why we do put people first. Particularly, it's really significant, I think, in medical devices and things. Yeah. So, have a look at that. Look at the kidney dialysis machine you can use at your bedside, so you don't have to go to hospital 3 times a week.
Wow.
And consider what it takes to actually give people confidence they're going to, connect themselves up to that and go to sleep and wake up all done in the morning.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, we could do a whole podcast on this. I think probably
we could. I could talk to you for hours about it, but
absolutely. Well, look, save all the gold for EDS, please, because we want you there sharing, and we want lots of people to come and talk to you so that you have a really successful show. And it's been lovely to talk to you today. Thank you for giving us some time. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks, and I hope you have a brilliant, brilliant show.
Great. I look forward to seeing you there, and hope to see many other people too.